Okay, so today we are going to talk about an overlooked marketing strategy that can produce a 20% increase in your sales opportunities. But before we get started, I would just love to know if you attended the last session, just drop in chat. What have you implemented since our last marketing mentor session? What have you taken action on? Okay, so to recap from our last session, your marketing is a numbers game, not a guessing game. So you need X qualified eyeballs to get Y qualified leads to get Z clients. And my goal in these sessions is to make business growth simpler by making online marketing simpler. So to simplify your marketing, I like to use a three-pronged approach that allows you to create more value from your existing marketing assets so you can generate more leads, better leads, and more sales-ready leads without increasing your traffic volume, growing your social media following, or investing more in paid advertising. So when we talk about better business growth, we're looking at these three prongs: lead generation, lead qualification, and lead nurturing. And last session, we talked all about lead qualification. So if you haven't yet viewed that session, I recommend you going to the recording that was provided for you, or if you even just want a refresher. Today, we're going to talk all about lead nurturing. So how do you stay top of mind with cold and warm leads who aren't yet ready to buy, but will be in the future? So most businesses I speak with are so focused on lead generation and always trying to bring in new leads to their world, but they're forgetting about the already qualified leads that are in their orbit that just need more time and information before they'll convert into clients. So today I'm going to walk you through exactly how to put a lead nurturing system in place. And the good news is it's a lot easier than you think, especially with James Amplifier. So we talked about this last time, but most business owners follow what I like to call the buy now or buy forever approach, meaning we only address leads that are ready to purchase right away and everyone else gets ignored completely. And any lead that was ready to buy immediately, but now requires more time before they're ready to become a client, also frequently gets forgotten. We also discussed the 5 stages of awareness, a marketing concept by Eugene Schwartz. And we talked about these 5 stages and how our goal is to move people from problem aware to most aware with our marketing. And the way we move them through these stages is through lead nurturing. So according to this demand gen report in 2014, nurtured leads produce on average a 20% increase in sales opportunities versus non-nurtured leads. And I like to think of lead nurturing as a force multiplier, meaning it amplifies the results of all your lead generation efforts. So in short, it helps convert a greater percentage of your leads into clients. So I'm curious, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your firm's follow-up with new leads? 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. And by the way, there's no judgment here. All I'm trying to do is get an idea of where you're at so that I can give you some simple strategies to improve your lead nurturing. So here's the truth. First impressions count. How you treat someone as a new lead is how they will presume you treat them as a client. So I'd love to give you an example. One of my doctors reached out to me recently about a new service they're offering this year. It's annual and you pay in cash. There's no coverage by medical insurance. It fit my needs, so I said, yeah, sign me up. And I asked to start in January. In the meantime, I had a follow-up appointment that had been scheduled since July, and we were going to be reviewing some labs. The receptionist reached out to me a couple days before our appointment and said the labs weren't available due to the holiday and that we'd have to reschedule and that my appointment wouldn't be able to be scheduled until 2021. And meanwhile, I had this on the calendar for 4 months. And I was looking at becoming an even more valuable patient for them by investing in their annual service. So just to give you an example, this interaction planted seeds of doubt for me, and it made me wonder, is this how I'll be treated when I upgrade to their higher level service? Is this really going to be what I need? And imagine if I were a brand new prospective patient. If I'd have to be really convinced that this was the only doctor for me. Otherwise, I'd just go find someone else who could meet my needs sooner. So again, I ask you, how are you treating your new leads? Are you following up with them regularly? Are you giving a good first impression, or are you forgetting about them? Are they falling through the cracks? Is someone in your office responsible for following up with them and staying on top of them while you manage your caseload? So is there room for improvement in how you follow up and treat new leads? Almost certainly. So when it comes to nurturing your leads, you've got two options. One, you can manually follow up with all leads. But this is time consuming, hard to scale, and best for hot leads, in my opinion. So for example, someone who's had a consultation with you or who's filled out your inquiry form. This manual follow-up could be handled by you, or it could be handled by someone in your office. And remember, one follow-up is often not enough for this type of lead. There's often needs to be multiple touch points. So you'll want to designate someone who can stay on top of this and isn't going to be distracted by the other work they have on their plate. Option number two is to use a one-to-many follow-up approach. This is easy to scale and great for warm leads and past clients. So in a one-to-many approach, you do one effort and then it gets sent out to many people. So how do you do option number two? You send regular emails to your list of leads and clients, also known as your email list. So before you start with the buts, because I get these a lot, but Lauren, I'm afraid of being spammy. But Lauren, I'm not sure what to write about. But Lauren, I nurture my leads on social media. I really don't need email. Hear me out. I've had lots of clients in this position, and according to the 2018 Demand Gen report, 67% of marketers said email was the top channel for driving leads to their pipeline. So don't knock email marketing until you try it or until you improve upon it. Perhaps email should also become your best channel for driving leads to your pipeline. So here's a few tips for making email marketing work for you. One, start by creating a set it and forget it automated sequence that new subscribers receive immediately. This will add value and naturally guide leads down your sales path. And the good news is, as an Amplifier subscriber, you already have this in place. On the back end of your FAQ pop-up, you have an educational email series that's being sent to new leads. Number two, consistency is more important than creating perfect content. I find so many business owners put pressure on themselves to churn out amazing content, and this perfectionism stops them in their tracks before they get started. So it's far more important to be consistent with your marketing emails, because the whole point is to stay top of mind. And if you wait until your content is perfect, your new prospect is likely to forget about you. Plus, when you're managing your caseload, the last thing you have time for is creating new content. So this is where you can really leverage James Amplifier's automated sequence and their newsletters, which we're going to talk about in a second. And tip number three, if you're going to be creating any content in addition to what Amplifier provides you, consider this. So many times when you start to write something, we all get that blank page syndrome. So we look at that blank page, the cursor, flashing before our eyes, and we're like, shoot, what should I write about? So what I recommend is that if you're going to create additional content, you plan the topics for 30 to 90 days, then you write second, and then you edit third. That way, in each session, you have one goal at hand, and you're not kind of judging the content ideas at the same time that you're brainstorming ideas. Okay, so the good news is when it comes to your lead nurturing, James Amplifier has done most of the heavy lifting for you. We have 4 features that can be used to help with your lead nurturing. 1, the branded shock and awe package with a 100-page book. 2, the educational email series that you get on the back end of the FAQ pop-up. So when someone opts into that pop-up, they're then automatically sent this educational email series. 3, the past client newsletter. And then 4, custom videos. So if you have any questions about what these features entail and how best to use them, you can drop your questions in the chat, or I recommend contacting your account manager after this session, and they can guide you about each feature and how to implement it. Okay, so Now I'd love to get into some common questions that I get about email marketing that you may have too. First question, how important is it to brand my emails? Honestly, it's not that important. In fact, too much branding in your emails often has an adverse effect on your marketing, and it ends up sending your emails to the spam folder or the promotions tab. Why? Because email inbox providers prioritize placements for senders who don't look like brands, and they prioritize placement for senders who get opens and clicks. So let me elaborate. I always like to think about this when I'm creating marketing emails. Does this look like an email a friend or family member would send me? Would a friend or family member send you an email with a colored background, a logo at the top, and lots of pictures organized into a pretty layout? Likely not. Maybe once a year for a holiday update, but for the most part, they're probably just going to send you some plain text with maybe one or two pictures in the email. So make your emails look like they're coming from a friend or family member, and this will allow you to be more likely to end up in the primary inbox. This is why amplifier emails are primarily plain text. Then when it comes to getting opens and clicks, which also makes you a priority sender, the key is writing valuable content that your prospects are interested in. Again, in this instance, Amplifier has you covered here as well because you don't have to write the content, and the content is really high quality and we know that prospects are interested in it. Okay, question number 2. What is deliverability and why does it matter? So in short, email deliverability is when an email successfully arrives in your subscriber's primary inbox. What's the point of sending an email if no one ever sees it? And that's what often happens when you end up in spam or when you end up in the promotions tab. So there are many factors that affect deliverability, but the 2 most important ones I just talked about: 1, minimal to zero branding, and 2, create quality emails your subscribers want to open. The more opens and clicks you get, the more Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail understand, oh, people want these emails, so we're going to put them in the primary inbox. Okay, third FAQ. Who can I send emails to? So if you're doing that one-to-many approach I talked about earlier, then you need to follow a permission-based approach. This means you should only be sending emails to people who've given you permission to send to them by opting into your marketing emails, whether there's a checkbox on an inquiry form or an FAQ pop-up that they've opted into. But the truth is that email marketing services will ban you from your platform if they find out you're sending to people who haven't opted in. So if you're buying lists and prospecting, not nurturing, this is a whole different marketing strategy, and there's actually a special technology you would use for this. You wouldn't use your typical email marketing service for this. And if you're using that one-on-one manual follow-up approach to hot leads, this can be sent directly from your email address, whether you have Outlook, Gmail, Hotmail, you can send straight from there. Okay, and is email marketing still effective? The short answer is yes. Email can and should be your best marketing channel for driving leads to your sales pipeline. The average ROI on email marketing is $44 for every $1 spent. That is an amazing return on investment. People are still in their inboxes at least once a day, if not more frequently. Think about all the times you open up your emails. Email marketing is one of the only marketing channels that I recommend every single business employ. A lot of the other channels will vary from business to business, but email marketing is a consistent channel that drives real results with honestly not that much effort. Okay, this is also a common objection I hear. I don't think my prospects and clients read email. The truth is they do. Average open rates across all industries for marketing emails is 24%. And you can get even higher open rates by creating quality content. And the open rates for nurturing sequences can be even higher. I've seen open rates up to 75%. So if you think about this, you're sending emails to your leads that you don't have time to manually follow up with, and 25 to 75% are opening your emails. That's a lot of people reading your emails. Okay. How often should I send marketing emails? The short answer is it depends. if we have some sort of automated sequence that's triggered by a behavior, like someone opting into your FAQ pop-up or completing an inquiry form, then these emails will likely be sent very frequently, up to daily. And then this frequency will peter off. Newsletters can be sent anywhere from a couple times a week to once a month. The goal is really to stay top of mind until someone becomes a client or they unsubscribe because they've expressed interest in your services and they're trying to gather more information. So I actually don't view unsubscribes as bad. I just view them as someone letting us know that they're no longer interested in your services. So in general, you'll send pretty frequently to accomplish this. And the last and final FAQ, how do I grow my list? The short answer is there are so many ways to do this: SEO, paid ads, teaching workshops, referrals. The strategies that you employ will vary greatly based on your firm, your target audience, and your marketing budget. I'm going to be going over some of the many ways to do this in future marketing sessions, and we'll dive into detail here. Okay, so to summarize, last session we covered lead qualification. We talked about the 2 action paths you need to convert more traffic into leads and identify whether they're hot or warm leads. Then today we talked all about lead nurturing, using emails to stay in touch with your leads in a one-to-many approach so that you can maximize your time and get a better return on investment for all the leads that you're bringing into your world. Next session, we are going to talk about lead generation. And actually, this is going to extend for quite a few sessions. There's so many different strategies, as I mentioned, that you can employ to generate new leads. And I want to dive deep into each one of them so that you can decide, is this a strategy that my firm should employ? And how are we going to be successful at it? So starting with our first session of 2021, which is going to be on January 21st at the same time, we are going to map out your lead generation strategy for the year. And this is going to be more of an interactive workshop. And I encourage you to attend, or if you can't be there live, to make sure to watch the recording. Now, before we break out into Q&A, I'd love to know what you plan on implementing before our next session. Drop it into the Zoom chat and let me know. And now I will open up the chat and break for Q&A. Okay, great. Okay, so let's start with Jody. So Jody, you are brand new to Marketing Amplifier and you signed up 10 to 14 days ago. What do you have to do to get the FAQ pop up on your website? Great question. I recommend that you touch base with your account manager. And Mike, I'm just making a note for you here. Maybe you can drop a comment in the chat and make note of Jody. But Jody, we'll make sure that your account manager reaches out to you to get this implemented. Okay. And I'm looking at your comments on lead follow-up, and it looks like, you know, there's a range from 4 to 7.5. I'd love to know, is there something you learned in this session that you're not doing now that you could employ for your lead nurturing efforts? Thanks, Mike. Okay. Yes, Frank, great question. So Frank is asking, I have the FAQ pop up on my website. Are the people who requested a book receiving a nurturing campaign? Yes, they are. And in terms of how many emails, it depends on the specialty. So I'll have your customer success manager reach out to you too to chat about that. But yes, everyone who's opting in is receiving a nurturing sequence. Yeah, you didn't realize that. Yeah, it's one of the most valuable pieces of Amplifier, in my opinion. It takes a lot of work to create a stellar nurturing sequence, and your new leads are just being, you're touching base with them regularly without really doing anything. Yeah. 3 or 4. Okay, great. So Frank is mentioning that he didn't realize that strategies 3 or 4, there's a past client newsletter and custom videos. So if there's any features that you're unaware of, you know, I I recommend reaching out to your customer success manager, and Mike, again, I'm going to ping you to make sure someone follows up with Frank. But yes, there is a past client newsletter that we can send to your past clients for you. And we recently rolled out custom videos. So your customer success manager will reach out to you and can get you scheduled for this. Yeah. Okay, Joel. Joel's asking a great question. I'm a personal injury lawyer. My prospects are in need for a very short time. Nurturing won't work. Okay, so this is great. So Joel's saying that his sales sequences or his sales lead time is very short. He has a very quick window, presumably, Joel, to convert someone from a prospect to a client. So in my case, I don't know that lead nurturing necessarily won't work. It just has to happen really fast. So if someone's filled out your inquiry form or requested a consultation, that's where you would take that one-on-one follow-up approach. That's more manual and time consuming. And someone in your office might text, might call, might send emails within a very quick time span, like one day, multiple times a day. But then anyone who maybe might take a little longer, and sometimes there are people who will take longer because someone else is making a decision for them or they're evaluating other attorneys. I do recommend still having a sequence in place to keep in touch with them. The other reason to have nurturing in place is because sometimes the person who's going to convert into a client isn't the person who's on your newsletter or receiving the nurturing emails, but they're going to be a referral from someone who is receiving those emails and says, oh, you know, who you should go talk to is Joel. Okay. Joel, and if that doesn't answer your question, let me know. I'm happy to bring you on Zoom if you'd like, and we can chat about it a little bit more. Okay, Jason, when will the criminal law videos and social media posts roll out and be available for us to implement? Okay, Mike, I don't know if you're available, but I may bring you on to answer this question. Let me see. Hey, Mike.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can. Can you answer Jason's question for him about the timing of the criminal law videos and social media posts?
Yeah, those should be ready now. We're just kind of QAing them, but QCing them, I'm sorry about that. But yeah, they should be ready really soon, and we'll have a more specific timeline. But yeah, they should be pretty much ready to go at this point.
So Jason, we'll make sure that your customer success manager reaches out to you and you guys can schedule the timeline on this. You're welcome. Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Mike, is there anything that you would like to add related to custom videos and anyone that might not know about those and how they can get on the calendar to get those recorded and ready to use in their marketing assets?
In terms of the videos?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So I definitely, like you said, I recommend reaching out to your customer success manager for any questions about not only the videos, but any other aspect of the Marketing Amplifier program. We're always adding new features. So I definitely apologize if you're not currently aware of everything we do offer, but that's why your customer success manager is around. They're available to talk to you about those features and kind of fill you in on what's new, what's coming, what's going to help you be successful in 2021 and beyond. So if you are interested in the custom videos, and I highly recommend that you investigate that. It's part of the program. It's included. There's no extra charge for it. Your customer success manager can set that up. And what the process looks like is our interviewer, Alex, will be on the call, and Alex may also be your customer success manager. It's possible about that. But Alex will be on the call. She'll lead you through the process, basically in terms of how the interview is going to work, whether you need scripts beforehand, whether you want to do more of an off-the-cuff about me piece, etc. We'll even send you a microphone if you need it. Once we have that session recorded, which lasts about an hour, we'll be able to create several custom videos for you, and we do want to be able to release at least one custom video for you every single month. So again, please reach out to your customer success manager, and if you're not sure who your customer success manager is, I will drop my email into the chat. You can always email me directly, and I will get everything sorted out for you.
Thanks, Mike. Okay, so Frank is asking, and I think this is a really great question. A thought that I have is only maybe 3 people have requested the book. With so few, what can we do? Yeah. So when we talk about the FAQ pop-up, and we talked about this a little bit in the last marketing mentor session, but typically the average opt-in rate for a pop-up is anywhere between 1 to 5% of your website traffic. So really what we're looking at is how much traffic are you sending to the website, Frank? And if we're within that 1 to 5%, then we want to talk next about how can we send more qualified eyeballs, like you saw in that slide about marketing being a numbers game. How can we send more traffic, more qualified traffic to your site so that we're bumping up the number of people requesting that book? So my best recommendation to you is to do two things, Frank. One, definitely to attend the January session where we're going to talk about the lead generation strategies available to you and which ones you should be considering in the new year. And then two, to also get a call scheduled with your customer success manager. They may be able to guide you through some options as well when they take a look at your stats and what's happening there. Okay. So next question I have, which is over here in the Q&A, you're welcome, Frank, is can a chat be used with the FAQ pop-up? Can they both be used at the same time? Will they interfere with each other? This is a really great question. The short answer is no, as long as they are not in the same place. So for example, if the chat is in the bottom right-hand corner and the FAQ pop-ups in the middle of your site, they won't interfere with each other. In some ways, they serve different purposes. The chat is designed to answer someone's question quickly and take more of a hot lead, or figure out is someone really an interested lead at all and move them to a consultation, where the FAQ pop-up is really designed more for a warm or cooler lead who's just not quite ready to talk to you yet, but they want to just get a little more information and learn more about what you do and whether you're the right attorney for them. I hope that answered your question because I can't see who asked it, but just let me know if it didn't in the chat. Okay, so I do want to offer an opportunity for anyone to come on like Mike is. So for example, Joel, if I didn't answer your question, you're welcome to come on and we can talk through it a little bit more about what lead nurturing might look like for you, given your shorter window. You'd like to? Okay, great. So Mike, you may get, I'm not sure if you'll both be on here at the same time, just to let you know, you may get dropped off once I bring Joel on here. Okay. Hey, Joel.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess you explained it well, and I guess just kind of follow up to that. I don't have a specific question, but the people, normally they're hot leads in the sense that they were recently injured and now they're looking for a lawyer currently. So they came to us. I have an email, and so you said this is more the one-to-one, every hour, every day, whatever I seem appropriate. Would I use James Marketing materials in that, or could I?
Yeah, you could. For example, you could work with your customer success manager to talk about how to leverage some of those custom videos. For example, my guess is that your goal with those hot leads is to get them scheduled for some sort of consultation before moving to the next step. So either before or after the consultation, maybe you're sending them, one of the custom videos, or even the FAQ pop-up, not the FAQ pop-up, but the book on the back end of that. So by the time they jump on the call with you, they're more sales ready because they have better questions. They've consumed that content, and you're positioned as an authority in those pieces of content. So the short answer is you just have a little more manual follow-up happening really quickly, which is not a bad place to be because we all want more hot leads, right? So it's just about what the sequence looks like on the back end for you and how you're getting that call scheduled quickly.
Let me just change the scenario just a tiny bit. So if normally it's usually a little different. If I get an inquiry from them, I want to get them on the phone and I want to close them. Obviously, there's a number of times where they say, okay, send me the papers, and then they don't follow up, or I'm trying to get a hold of them, or we have a talk and they're not sure. Those are the ones that I think that would seem to me to fit in where you're talking about.
Yep, absolutely. How quickly do you get on a call with a hot lead? Typically, is it like within an hour after receiving an
Yeah,
inquiry?
it should be right away. You know, whatever. As soon as we know, we call and we try to talk to them. We talk them through their problem, and if we think it's a case we would like to either set an appointment, or with COVID, much more likely, we're sending them out papers.
Yeah. Okay, so then after you've gotten on the call with them, if they haven't made a decision, that's where I'd plug them into some of this nurturing content, as well as I would layer on top of that, that one-to-one follow-up, and ideally it's someone in your office who can be on top of it, you know, multiple touch points a day. Oftentimes we get really busy, distracted by email, text, social media, whatever's coming our way. And so for you, I think the name of the game is also tell me you're not interested or become a client, and you want one of those answers pretty quickly.
Okay, and usually we are following up with them, but we're not following up with them with any materials or emails or information or anything that qualifies us. Just, did you decide?
Yeah, so I think that would be a great opportunity for you guys, because if you think about today's consumer, we often really want to understand the process a lot more than in the past. So for example, you know, I imagine that people have a lot of questions for you about how it's going to work, why you're the best attorney for them. Like, tell them a little more about what you do in their exact situation. And some of that content can give them some of those answers without you spending one-on-one time with them until they've become a client.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. So Joel, I'd recommend that you're chatting with your customer success manager, because they can help you figure out which features are best to employ in that scenario to make sure you have what you need.
Okay. Yeah, I actually have a few other questions for her anyway, and I'm going to take what we just talked about also. So I'll set something up with her really soon. Thank you.
Okay.
And
she's likely on this.
Riley.
Okay. And I think Riley's on this call today. Maybe she's not. If not, she'll be watching the recording. So she'll also have some context.
Okay. So either she'll follow up with me or I'll follow up with her, but it's time for a talk with us.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye.
Thank you for coming on. Okay, Frank, how frequently is the newsletter sent? And the FAQ book that is sent by submission to the pop-up, can that be sent to your mailing list? Good questions, and I'm actually going to let Mike answer both of those.
Hi, can you hear me? I assume you can hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, good. So the first question was, how often is the newsletter sent? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, we have the default set for once per month, and there's a reason for that. It's because we don't want to overwhelm your past clients. Obviously, there's not a need for such immediate communication with them as it is when they're a prospect or when they're a new client. You know, you've already established that relationship, it's ongoing. So we think once per month is more than sufficient to sort of keep you top of mind with those folks. If you did, however, want to alter that schedule, and let's say you want it to go every 3 weeks or every 2 months or every quarter, we can adjust that schedule for you, but we recommend that you keep with the default monthly schedule for the newsletters. And I believe the second question, Lauren, correct me if I'm wrong, was, can the frequently asked question booklet be sent to an email list? Is that correct?
My mailing list. And I think, Frank, what would be helpful for us to answer this question is understanding how you collected that mailing list.
Yeah, as well. So are we talking about email or physical mail?
He says email list in the chat. And so
Okay.
you probably can't see the chat because it's being sent to all panelists.
Yeah, sorry, no, I can't. So I'm kind of flying blind here.
And so Frank's saying past clients and past consults.
Yeah, so Frank, yeah, we can send things to your past list. We do recommend, though, that you take some time and sort of let us know specifically, like Lauren said, how that list was cultivated and also the last time you contacted those folks. Anyone who hasn't been contacted for more than 3 to 4 months, we are concerned about not only bounces, but invalid emails, people marking that message as spam. So specifically when you talk to your customer success manager, what they will want to know is, you just provided how you cultivate it, which is great. But when was the last time you talked to those folks? What was the past open rate, et cetera. Then we can work with you to not only scrape the bad emails out of that list, sort of clean it up for you. Then we can talk about maybe an upload into the system and mailing out those materials for you.
Yeah, so, and Frank, just to add on to that, deliverability is really important. And so the reason all of those practices are in place is to keep deliverability high so that your emails end up in the inbox. I just touch base with your customer success manager on that. Okay, so a couple more questions. How come my emails are not more personalized? I want to add images to my email newsletter so it's not so plain. Okay, great question. And that comes back to that branding question that I talked about. Again, do emails that you receive from friends and family look that way? Typically not. We want to make sure that you end up in the inbox and not in spam and not in promotions. And the way we do that is by reducing the number of images in your newsletter, taking more of a plain text approach. If and when possible, not having a whole lot of branding. I know you receive emails from probably your favorite e-commerce brands that look really beautiful. Like if you looked at something from Nordstrom's or Lululemon or Amazon, you see a lot of images in there. But if you have Gmail, you'll often notice those end up in the promotions tab. Like I encourage you to go look at your promotions tab and see how many emails are in there. Same thing with spam. So we really want to make sure that you your marketing emails are in the inbox. Otherwise, what's the point of sending them? Yeah. Okay, Mike, another question for you coming from Sherry. What is the status of the professionals marketing material? I only have marketing tactics for small law firms, but I do want to market to tax professionals.
So everyone gets professional newsletters with the program. So not only those marketing tactics, but we have professional newsletters as well. And the idea behind those is that these are perfect to provide to referral sources so that, of course, they can provide them to their clients as well. Now, if you're looking for something specific, like a specific book for tax advisors, that would be something that's more a custom project, and I'm not sure we would be able to handle it. But if you can either email your customer success manager or me directly, specifically about what you're looking for, definitely take it to the editorial team and see if it's something we can handle.
Amazing. Okay, so those are the last of the questions that I see so far, but I did want to just offer up the opportunity if anyone else wants to come on and talk through a unique scenario like Joel did, just let me know in the chat and I'm happy to do that. And if not, we can end a little early and let everyone get back to their day. Okay, you guys are a quiet bunch today, so I'm going to assume that I've answered everyone's questions unless I see differently in the next couple minutes. Yeah, you're welcome. It was my pleasure to be here. Thanks for the kind words. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be doing this again on January 21st at the same time. You will get reminder emails from your customer success manager so that you can attend live. And again, if you can't make it live, we will be here for, we will be sending out the replay so you can watch on your own time. Thank you so much for joining us today. Have a great day.